Hi guys, welcome back. We're going to continue talking about exponents and we're going to kind of combine all these wonderful rules that we have been learning about, okay? So, let's talk about this. And some of you may have seen some of these already, okay? But we're multiplying two chunks of information, okay? Now we know with exponents, when we're multiplying, we add the exponents, but that does not change what we do to the coefficients. So the 6 and the 4 are not exponents. So we multiply those like we normally would. Well, 4 times 6 is 24, okay? And now we look at the bases together. So I have x squared times x to the 4th. Well, that would be x to the 6th. And then we have y to the 3rd, y to the negative 2. That's going to be y to the 1. Okay, or we could write 24x to the 6th y, okay? Either would be acceptable. A lot of times when we have a 1 exponent, we don't write it just because it's kind of silly. We don't have to, okay? So again, remember, coefficients we multiply or divide like normal. Exponents are when we add or subtract or do whatever with, okay? Let's talk about dividing. Go ahead, and if you're looking at this, 15 and 10 don't go into each other evenly. So we're going to reduce it just like we would a normal fraction. 5 goes into both of them. 5 goes into 15 3 times and into 10 2 times. And then I look at my x's. Now I could do, well, 2 minus 6 is negative 4, but then I have to bring it down. So one thing that's helpful is to be like, okay, well, there's 6 on the bottom and 2 on top. So that means I'm going to have more on the bottom. So that means my x to the 4th will go on the bottom right away. Okay, if you want to write it as x to the negative 4 and then move it down later, that's fine. But if you want to try and save yourself a step, you can do that as well. Okay, and that works because if we have x squared over x to the 6th, right, this cancels out and you're left with the 4x's on the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to take care of the y's. Well, 4 minus 3 is 1. There's more y's on the top, so it's going to go onto the top. And again, we don't have to write the 1. Okay, all right. And we're going to go ahead and look at this one. Now, personally, what I do is when there's a lot of stuff inside, I will reduce inside before I distribute. But we could distribute the 3 to every single piece first. It just depends on what you want to do. Okay, and if you're forgetting to distribute it into every piece, then maybe you should do that first. So I'm going to reduce the inside just for giggles. So my 2 and 6 reduces to 1/3. My x is 4 minus negative 2. Remember, we minus the exponent, so 4 minus negative 2 is really 4 plus 2. So it's going to be x to the 6th. And then negative 3 minus 5 would be, because negative 3 minus, just minus 5 would be negative 8. So that y to the negative 8 would have to go down to the bottom. So this is really x to the 6th over 3y to the 8th, all to the 3rd power. So we're still not quite done. We need to distribute the 3rd power to every base. So x is a base, 3 is a base, y is a base. So this would be x to the 18th, 3 to the 3rd, y to the 24th. Okay? So this is where it comes into play. We have a number base. Okay? If we have a number base, we're going to start writing it out. Some of you have noticed that in our chapter answers. So 3 cubed is 27. So we're going to write that as 27 now. Now, if it's some astronomically large number, like a million something, feel free to leave it as an exponent, okay? But if it's something quick that you can do in your calculator or you know it in your head, I would go from there, okay? All right. So I usually write this out for students, so you can write this down if you want. These are the 4 questions I have you guys ask to see if you're done simplifying. So first, are there any like bases? Okay, so are there x's, are there y's, are there constants, right? Things like that, okay, or coefficients really in this case. Are there any 0 exponents? And that question, these two can kind of be flipped around. It doesn't really matter what order you do them in, but sometimes combining the bases can get rid of your 0 exponents for you, or create 0 exponents. Okay, so 3, are there any negative exponents? And we usually ask this last, or second to last, just because sometimes you create negative exponents. Are there any negative exponents? Sorry, I guess I should move that word up here. Okay, and then finally, are there any number bases like we just dealt with there? Okay, so any number bases, which just means like, do we have a base 3 where we can figure out that 3 to the third is 27? Again, negative exponents would be like our 8 to the negative y to the negative 8, and we would need to move that down to the bottom or top depending on where it is to start with. Number bases or like bases would be like x's and x's, y's with y's. We didn't have any 0 exponents in this one because you guys are usually pretty good at dealing with those. All right, I hope this video finds you well, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.